Hey Islanders, and welcome to episode 57 of the Camano Voice. On this episode, I speak to the owner of the Camano Beach Cafe. Please welcome Donna King. Hi, I'm Brandon Erickson, and you're listening to the Camano Voice podcast, where I interview folks around Camano Island and beyond. If you want to stay up to date on events, businesses, and even hear a little history of this area, subscribe to this podcast and share with your friends. Thanks for listening. Hey Islanders, and welcome to another episode of the Camano Voice, where we release a new episode every Tuesday. On this episode, I got to speak to Donna King, who's the owner of the Camano Beach Cafe. And if you haven't been down there yet, she has a cafe there in the Camano Beach area that is overlooking the ocean. It's a beautiful location. She does a great job with it. She's got a little cafe out there. And on top of that, she also does catering and stuff like that. So she's catered a lot of different events around the island and beyond. So we get into her origin story a little bit, where she started. She's actually run multiple businesses at this point. Camano Beach being one of her latest venture that she's been going on. But she's had a business that was located outside of the United States, as well as some businesses inside of the San Juan Camano area before Camano Beach. So anyways, please enjoy my conversation with Donna King. Hey Islanders, and welcome to another episode of the Camano Voice. Today I'm here with the owner of the Camano Beach Cafe. Welcome to the podcast, Donna King.
Thank you.
How are you doing today?
Doing good. Doing good.
So before we jump into everything, tell us a little bit about Donna.
Well, I am probably the most interesting thing about me, to locals anyway, is that I'm a fifth generation Stanwood ite, I guess. My great-great-grandfather came here in 1886 and homesteaded a section of land south of town near Florence.
Okay.
And ended up going down and doing his duty in Olympia for a short time, somewhere, some political office. I haven't really looked into it that much.
Okay.
And then his son, Carl Jr., married a Larson girl. He married anyway. So I'm related to. I have cousins all over this place who I have never met because I'm related to the Larsons and the Gedstads and the Satras, which there's not many of those left.
Yeah, I haven't heard that last name.
Yeah, you wouldn't have a few. Probably the last thing that people would remember would be the Oliver Satra milk trucks, which have been gone for close to 10 years now. Okay. So way back when everybody knew who they were, but so anyway, that's my sort of, I guess, sort of interesting little tidbit.
Very cool. So then, has your family's been in this area for that long? As far as your family history and stuff, do you know why they kind of came to this area in the first place? Well,
yeah, sure. Originally, the Norwegians came because they were the second and third sons, and only the first son could inherit the land. Okay. Right? So I suppose that's the way many people ended up coming here. They didn't have opportunity in their homeland. Mm-hmm. Like others in my family, they stopped off, apparently came to Quebec or sometimes Ellis Island, whatever, but then they got a team of oxen and they headed out this way, and a lot of them landed in North Dakota, and then, they couldn't make it work there either, or they heard that there was more opportunity out here, and so they all came out here, and I think it's a pretty typical story. Yeah. Became farmers.
Very cool. Yeah.
Like everyone.
Yeah. Do you know approximately like the year that your guys' the first generation moved here?
1886.
Wow.
Yeah.
Very cool. Okay, so then did you grow up in Stanwood then?
I did not. I was raised in Bellingham, and then my family moved to Marysville, and I graduated from Marysville Pilchuck High School. Okay. And then my grandparents were still here, and so I did live here for a short time in my 20s when my grandparents needed a little bit of help. But then I married and went to Canada, to Vancouver, BC. My husband ended up passing away, and then I came back here. But I didn't really want to be in Stanwood so much as Camano Island. I just thought it was prettier, and it's just where I landed.
Yeah. Okay, so you guys, you said you grew up in Bellingham and then moved down to, or you were in Bellingham, then Marysville. What had brought your parents up to Bellingham?
Well, my mom was from Bellingham.
Oh,
that was my mother's side of the family.
Got it.
So, they met in school at Western and just happened to stay there for a long time. So,
okay.
Yeah, it's a great town.
Nice.
I love
it. Yeah, my wife and I love going to visit Bellingham.
Yeah.
And just going up there, and it's nice.
We're so lucky here. We have so many beautiful places to visit.
Yeah. Yeah, there's a lot of great places in this area, and we just went up Highway 20 to go on a hike.
Oh, yeah. Gorgeous.
Last week, and yeah.
I'm heading there tomorrow, actually.
Oh, very cool.
Yeah.
Nice. Yeah, no, there's great hikes. There's, skiing and snowboarding if you like that during the winter. There's the ocean. There's, just a little bit of everything.
Yeah, we're so lucky.
Yeah. Very cool. So then, so you graduated high school. What happened after, what'd you do after that?
I got a 2-year degree from Seattle Central Community College and was heading to Western when I met my husband, and I moved to Canada instead.
Okay. So did you ever finish your education there then? Or
Nope. I became a mom.
Okay.
Yeah.
Very cool. And how long did you live in BC?
13 years.
Okay. Nice. And is that where your husband was from?
He was from Alberta,
okay.
Actually. Yeah.
Got it. And what'd he do up in Vancouver?
He worked in the film industry.
Really?
He was a lighting tech and a gaffer and yeah.
Oh, very cool.
Yeah. And my daughter's up there now. She's in film school. Okay. I haven't seen her since the lockdown, unfortunately.
Right.
Because the borders are closed,
yeah.
which they just closed them for another 30 days. But she's doing good. She's already had 2 of her films made. I mean, if anybody listening to this happens to know her, she's doing incredibly well.
Nice.
I'm really proud of her.
Yeah. What are some of the films she's worked on?
Well, they're her own films, just 6-minute films that she's done for school. She's graduating next year.
Okay.
So
Very cool.
Hopefully they won't have to do distance learning because it's really hard in film school to do distance learning because they have to get out on the street. And the school she goes to, the Bosa family donated, I don't know how many millions of dollars to get them all the best movie making equipment that there is and a big auditorium and tons of computers and it's really a hands-on degree.
Yeah.
Yeah, It'll be really sad if she has to do it by distance.
Right. Yeah, it makes a huge difference in just learning and all of that.
Yeah.
Yeah, especially a lot of that technical stuff and getting to work with hands-on with the cameras and things like that.
Yeah, exactly.
So, very cool. Okay, so then you came back down to Camano then afterwards. Did you move back with your daughter then?
Yeah, I did. Yeah, okay. Yeah, when she was in 5th grade.
Okay. Nice. What did you do when you came back? I know you were living with your grandparents, helping out, but what else?
Well, that was when I was in my 20s. When I came back here, the first thing I did was I volunteered at the at Casa and Noah.
Okay.
And it's kind of an interesting story. There was a feral cat colony on the island. There were 70 cats.
Wow.
It was at the country club actually, and it was really out of control. Because these cats were going in the neighborhoods, they were killing, birds, and they were just, they were unhealthy. It was a really bad situation. Mm-hmm. So when I was volunteering there was a couple of gentlemen who trapped the cats, and then I would take them up to Noah, get them spayed and neutered, and then we rehomed them in barn homes.
Okay.
So that's another kind of cool thing that I've done here on the island.
Yeah.
And then I bought the old cookie mill and did the Scandia coffee house there for 4 years. And that was great. And then I sold it. And then I opened the Camano Beach Cafe and I sold the Scandia coffee house at the same time. So that's how I got into restaurant, was just by starting with a coffee house.
Okay.
And then people would ask me to cater all the time. So I became a caterer. So I do a lot of catering out of Camano Beach Cafe.
Got it. Okay.
Well, I did before COVID hit.
Yes, I know. Okay, so how did you get in touch with the, was Cookie Mill on its way already shutting down?
Yeah, it was for sale.
Okay.
It was for sale. And I really missed all the great coffee houses in Vancouver where you could go and have really great coffee and sit and have a sandwich or a pastry and meet with people. And so I gave that a try and did really well with it. I did kind of mediocre with it. Okay. I mean, I was able to sell it in the end, but it was, I learned a lot, we'll say.
Yeah. So was that your big venture first venture on your own then?
No, I had a retail store up in Canada, a gift store that's actually still in existence on Lonsdale Avenue in North Vancouver called Utopia.
Utopia.
Yeah, and it's still open.
Nice.
Yeah. So that was my first. I had that for 10 years.
Okay, so you did that while being a mom, and okay,
yeah.
Wow, that's a lot of work.
Yeah, I know. I'm pretty crazy, actually. I don't know why I get these bugs to do these projects and start these businesses, which is kind of nuts.
Yeah. So wait, okay, so go back then. Tell me about Utopia then. How did that get started? And
that just started with, I started selling jewelry that I was making out of a kiosk in a little market called Lonsdale Quay, which is kind of like a Granville Island sort of thing. If you know Granville Island, but it's in North Vancouver where the sea bus lets off, and they have like all these like produce markets and restaurants and little shops. And so I've made jewelry for many years, and I was looking for an outlet to sell my jewelry. So I got a kiosk for the summer, and I did really well with that. And I brought in some other like gift items like candles and little books and stuff. This was the day before Amazon when you could actually sell books. And then the owners of the kiosk approached me because they had a shop that had been sitting empty for a long time. And they said, would you like to move into this store? And it will charge you the same price as the kiosk. And I was like, well, I don't really have enough stock to make it look full, but sure, why not? So I just kind of, bought more stock and arranged, brought in big plants and stuff to kind of fill up the space. Right. And then I ended up having that for 10 years. So. Okay. Yeah.
Very cool. So then, how did you come up with the name Utopia?
It just means a better world, right? A good, perfect, ideal world, which doesn't really exist. But, it's just, Thomas More came up with it, right? I didn't come up with it, but I love the name.
Very cool.
Yeah.
Nice. So then you ended up, over 10 years then, you start with just kind of your jewelry and what you had, and then how did you kind of grow from there?
Well, I started buying more jewelry, and then I started buying like mineral specimens, like big, beautiful crystals and stuff like that. Went down to Tucson to the great big Tucson Gem Show.
Oh, okay.
And then I tried to get as much locally made, things as possible. Yeah. Bath products, body products. I'd go to the gift shows. Yeah. The wholesale gift shows, and just get things that I thought would suit. Things that I liked, things that I might want to buy. Yeah. And so I just started filling the store that way. And it was really fun. I really enjoyed it. Yeah. I wanted to do that here, but I just didn't think there was enough of a market.
Yeah. Well, and that's funny because, first of all, when you were doing the gift shows and stuff, were you doing ones that were mainly Vancouver or like Canada based, or were you coming down back to Seattle?
Yeah, I would come to Seattle. Yeah. Okay. Yeah. So Vancouver, Seattle, I went to Denver one year, and just because I was going to Denver anyway, and just the timing of it. I think I went to the San Francisco gift show one year. Okay. And the Tucson Gem Show. Yeah.
Yeah, my grandma, prior to passing away, used to go to that every year. She would go down in February.
The Tucson show?
Yeah, the Gem Show, because that's where we moved from.
Oh, you did?
I grew. Well,
oh my gosh, I love Tucson.
We didn't.
Oh no, is it too hot?
Yeah, my parents, they grew up in Tucson, or ended up in Tucson, and that's where both of my sides of the family mainly were at the time, and my parents never liked the climate of Tucson. It was dry and gross. And hot.
It's a harsh climate.
So then we moved to Camano when I was about 5. Oh, okay. But a lot of my family and stuff was still down there, and then my grandma moved up here. She started moving up here during the summer, so she would be up here during the summer and move back down during the rest of the year down to Tucson. So
nice.
We have a lot of travel back and forth between Camano and Tucson. Yeah,
I discovered when I was there that there's some kind of spore or something that when it rains, it like wakes up the spore, or the spore starts growing or something, and a number of people are allergic to it. Oh, and okay. I was one of those people. I went there one year to the Gem Show, and I was so sick.
Oh, no.
But I wasn't the only one. It was like there was a bunch of people there. I guess if you're not used to the spore, it just makes you have like a really bad cold. It irritates your sinuses really bad. Oh. So I think of all the people that moved down there without knowing about this spore. And then
yeah, that's interesting. Yeah, I've never heard of that.
Yeah.
So, yeah, I mean, a lot of my family has lived there for a decent amount of time, so they probably are generationally been there, so they probably are used to it now.
Yeah, probably so. Yeah, it's the sickest I've ever been with a cold-like symptoms was in Tucson.
Wow.
Yeah. It's horrible.
Oh, that's weird. Okay, so then you sold that then, and then after you sold that, did you come back here and were you just starting to kind of look and find out what was going on around here?
Yeah, exactly. I was here. I'd moved down here. I sold my house in Vancouver. I sold my business in Vancouver, and I was just kind of looking for my next thing to do. Mm-hmm. So that's when I opened the Scandia.
Okay.
Yeah, and nice. Then one day Jeff Wheeler walks in and said, "Hey, we're putting in a restaurant out at the state park, and would you like to come and look at it and maybe put in a bid to get it?" So I did.
Nice.
And then I had to make up a bid with, to be a concessionaire, because I don't know if a lot of people know that I'm a concessionaire out there.
Okay.
That the Camano Beach Cafe is not state run.
Yep.
So I basically lease the space from the state.
Okay.
So I had to put in a business plan and an offer, and I snuck a dozen cookies in there as well for the people in the office because I figured they should know,
what they're getting.
What they're getting, yeah. So
very cool. Was there a lot of people that were applying for that spot?
There were 4 of us who came to the meeting, so no, the competition wasn't too stiff.
Yeah. No, that's neat though. Okay, so then at this point you had sold Scandia. Now, did you sell Scandia to the people that own it now?
No, it's Julie's running it now again. She is the original owner, and she's running it with her cousin. And no, I sold it to a woman who reopened it as Ramona Lisa's.
Okay.
Yeah.
And that must have been when I was off at college, because I remember when it was Scandia, and then I moved away, and I was out college and then working and stuff, and then by the time I came back, I think it was about to relaunch and reopen as Cookie Mill.
Yeah.
So, okay. Okay. And then what was kind of your thought when you were opening up, after you put in your bid and everything and you were getting ready for the Camano Beach Cafe, what were you kind of thinking of, like, how you were going to make it different from before, and what was your kind of plan?
Well, the reason really why I wanted to get the Camano Beach Cafe was because of the catering, because they have so many weddings out there.
Okay.
So I felt like catering was a much more creative and fun thing to do. Like a restaurant it's a lot of work, and you're doing the same thing day in and day out. And I'm a person who gets bored easily. Mm-hmm. So, and catering actually pays the bills better. It's much harder work. It's very intense work.
Yeah.
And there's really no room for error, but I kind of thrive on that, the pressure. Okay. So I never thought that the cafe would make much money on its own, but I felt that the catering would do well, and it has. Okay. Until COVID hit.
Yes. Yeah. That is. Yeah. So, so then over time though, have you continued to build? Has Camano Beach, as the cafe, has that continued to grow more than you expected?
It has. It's really been shocking because usually by about the 5th year, a restaurant will level out. Mm-hmm. And we have been increasing every year since we opened. And this is now, we opened in August of 2011, so we're going on our 9th year.
Congratulations.
Yeah. And our sales are significantly higher this year than they were, 20%. Than they were last year. So I think just the word gets